Ho, 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 ho. Welcome into the Cam and Strick Podcast, Holiday Edition.
Let's go. Yoink, baby. What's up? Happy holidays. Let's go.
Hey, 2024 has been a great year for a lot of people. Some people may say, well, it hasn't been a great year. It's been a great year for the Cam and Strick Podcast. We're here at Half Coast Studios. We moved here in 2024. So this has been a great year. I hope you guys have enjoyed the year of the Cam and Strick Podcast. Thank you for all of your support, man. They continue to support us, Cam.
And you know what? Check us out on YouTube, by the way, because we started this about a year ago. So check us out. If you haven't checked out the YouTube page.
But let me just say, sometimes the best stuff isn't always in the clips. You got to go listen to the podcast maybe to find certain things, you know, because we want to protect Cam from like getting in trouble and stuff like that.
That's right. We got to protect the brand.
Which is very important. So listen, continue to support the podcast. We appreciate that. But more importantly, support our sponsors, man. All our great sponsors. We can't thank them enough for continuing to support us, man, throughout the course of 2024 and beyond, man, as we get into 2025, baby.
25, baby. Let's go. Love all y'all.
Best of. Enjoy. Happy New Year. The Cam and Strick Podcast is brought to you by First Form, baby. Use our link and do it today. www.firstform.com/camandstrick.
Get jacked now. They are the real deal.
Get that protein, check out the apparel, eat those bars, and drink those energy drinks. Firstform.com/camandstrick.
Yeah.
Now on to the interview. Hey, what happened with when Keenan sent you home for being like overweight or out of shape or whatever it was? Like, give us a real story there.
I wasn't in the shape he wanted. So I was in my usual training camp shape where I keep a few extra pounds, but I also know that I'm going to play most of the exhibition games. I like to play a lot and I like to play myself into shape. And I've done that my whole career. I did that in Edmonton. So it wasn't any different than normal. Just Mike didn't see it that way. And I missed the memo that he traded Curtis right before that. And Curtis happened to just win the most popular player. So it was an interesting way to get introduced to St. Louis.
Ooh. So when you went there, he just weighed you? Did you guys all just get weighed in? Or did he just do a body fat count on you and like, no, this is too much?
No, we got weighed in to a skewed scale. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Because I flew back home and then we went over to one of the hospitals in Edmonton and jumped on the scale and I'd magically lost 9 pounds on my way. So
9?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the scale might have been out just a hair, but
that's a big.
So the scale they were using in St. Louis, it was like it wasn't even like accurate.
Gap.
So
you know what it was is Mike likes to have control.
Yeah.
So that was his way of having control. But at the same time, he didn't realize it's not really going to bother me any. I know my body enough to know that we were fine to play, and apparently, if you can play 79 games, it couldn't have been too bad.
No shit. So how pissed off were you? Like you go home and so what'd you do? And like how long was it before he called you and said, okay, you can come back now? And when you came back, did he have to like weigh you again and all that? I mean, listen, you're an established like superstar. By that stage, you pretty much had already put together a Hall of Fame career with all your Stanley Cups. And I know you hadn't gotten to 400 wins yet and all that, but still, man, everyone knew you were a legendary name in the game. Were you like, I don't need this? Or how'd you maintain your cool with, throughout all that?
I went back home and played golf. I think that was the biggest thing. I went and played in some mini tour events and had some fun playing golf. And then 3 days later, Mike phoned and told me to get my butt back to St. Louis. And then we had a little conversation. Mike said, you don't say anything bad about me. I won't say anything bad about you. Well, it was a little late by then. He'd already had his money's worth of saying bad about me. And then just play till I tell you to stop. And I'm like, fine, I got no problem with that. So we just played.
So were they chirping you in St. Louis in the media? Like, did you pay attention to any of that shit? I know it's easy not to when you don't have social media. But did they blame you or were they blaming Keenan at that point? Did you know?
I get all the blame at that point.
Yeah.
Prongs and I.
Yeah. Prongs too. Yeah, he took a beating too.
He did.
Prongs might have got it worse than I got it.
According to him, he would probably agree with that. I mean, the stories he tells us are just crazy. It's funny because Prongs took all the heat from the Toronto broadcasters when Kyprios fell on you. They're like, he pushed him on top of Fuhr. And it's like, he kind of like tapped him, He didn't really get a good shot on him until he was already laying on top of you. But man, like that. So that's how Keenan operates, right? Because he's got thin skin when people take shots at him. He didn't like his players to call him out publicly at all, right?
Oh no, that was not a good thing. He frowned on that a little bit, which Hully broke that rule right out of the gate. So, well, that's what made it fun. I mean, it became a war of wills, and if he figured out that he couldn't bother you, he'd move on to somebody else.
Like a bully.
So it got entertaining with Prongs. I mean, Prongs probably had the center seat in the outhouse, where if things went wrong, he'd give Prongs shit, and Prongs being Prongs would just kind of shake it off and go whatever, and just play.
Not a bad song though. You can't. I mean,
AC/DC.
People may love it out there, Jake. You know, they may love Hell's Bells.
I said no offense. I'm not even against Hell's Bells, but when you hear it 80 times, it's like,
too much.
Freddie, like there's other AC/DC. You know, like there's other.
Let's mix it up. Let's mix it up. You're the DJ. Hey, what about when you ask for a trade, like, and then it gets out? Is that uncomfortable? Like, I mean, you've experienced a lot, man. Now you're a veteran guy, and now you've gone through the whole free agent process. But looking back on that, why do you think you felt like maybe you needed a new fit, and what was your reaction when it got out?
Yeah, well, I think I actually asked for one earlier. I asked for one in the summer, just with the kind of the way the team was shaping up when it came to just where I was looking where I could possibly play in the lineup and things like that, and kind of how the year ended. I got scratched in the playoffs, and I just thought, it was time for maybe just a fresh start for both sides. Obviously I'm speaking for myself, but that's kind of my thoughts when we were going into the summer. There's nothing against the city of Boston. I love Boston. Boston's a great city. They've got so many things going on. People have always treated me so good there. And it's something that it's probably the place I spent the most time in my life ever. Usually I was moving around a couple places, and I consider it one of my, second homes. Honestly, it's great. It wasn't anything to do with that or even the guys on the team. Just was just situations and just different things where I just thought, maybe you'd go on, and then I was getting scratched again. I wasn't playing much. I was getting scratched again, and actually funny enough, got scratched again in Vancouver was the last time I was scratched. And at that point, I just made the call just to try to get it moving forward. I didn't think they were taking it serious. And I thought that at that point, I was just fighting for my career. At that point, I was just like, I think that I can add more than what is happening here. I didn't see anything changing in a sense for my own game. My game was getting worse. I was thinking about 10 different things. And, when it came out, it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable going to the rink the next day. I talked to the guys in the room, and it was then the guys that were there were the biggest reason why I got out of that situation, that side of things. They had my back. They were with me through it all. And they were all good with me. They understood why in the room. They knew it was just me trying to find a better fit for my career, to have a longer NHL career and a better, better chance at something. And, it was one of those things where I didn't want to play bad in this time either, because I wanted them to get something back in return that was respectable as well. Because I know when you go public with something like that, it just tanks your value. So it wasn't anything against the team. It was more so just me, just in my own head. I just needed change just to have a start. But, I remember playing the next game after, because there was a couple injuries, and I wasn't even supposed to be playing the next game after, but then there's a couple injuries that happened. So I played like a day later or something, or like 2 days later. And I remember I was getting booed when I touched the puck at the Garden. So it was funny because out of all guys, Freddie's like, "Hey, do you think you're going to get booed tonight?" And I was like, "Freddie, thanks, man." I was like, "Thanks." I was like, "Yeah, honestly, thanks for bringing that up. I didn't even think of that. But you know what? Now you say that, they're for sure going to boo. I mean, they're passionate. They're going to boo." He's like, "Well, if they care, they boo. If they don't care about you, then they won't boo." And he's like, that's one way to look at it. And, I understood what comes with that. Obviously, I know I made some enemies. I made some, with definitely different fan groups inside of Boston. It's not a pretty thing to do. I just felt desperate in the sense for my own career. I needed a change. And, it's not that I didn't want it to work out. Actually, if anything, it was more so just, I needed a change. And then sure enough, things just started falling into place again. And, it's one of those things where I look back now, that was, 3 or 4 years ago. At that point in time, I wouldn't see this, 4 years later, so I think it worked out, but it taught me a lot about myself, because I felt like my back was against the wall constantly. I was walking on eggshells, and the guys in the room made me feel really, really comfortable in the sense of just staying with it and just kind of doing whatever I can to help the team. And, to be honest with you, it made me mature and grow up really fast. It was maybe a little premature, but at the same time, looking back at it, it got me to this point today.
Yeah, your teammates had your back, man. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there are probably some other guys who weren't on the same page with the coach at the time, and you could see that they made the coaching change. Veteran guys come back. and your game took off. So at the end of the day, you ended on great terms with the Boston fans, and you know how you played your last couple of years there, man. So you got that to be proud of too, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and that's something, the only thing I wish I could change is obviously 19, but that's something I really wanted to do if that was the case. Looking at the year coming into this year, I thought, if it was my last year in Boston, I didn't want to, I wanted something to remember. You always want to be remembered somehow in some different ways. And honestly, I wish I could have done more, but in saying that, that was my goal, was to try to, make amends with all that nightmare, because that was tough. That was tough. But like I said, the people always treat me really great there. Like, I'd go out to dinner and, like, things, people come up and talk to me, they support me. I never once got heckled when I was an actual person in Boston. So when at a time I felt like the world all, was pointing at me. So it was kind of funny how it works out in reality, I guess.
Hey, I'm just curious. Help us understand like the culture of Vegas. You know, like there's been so many guys. We've had Bill Foley on, man, in
Oh
addition
yeah,
to Kelly McCrimmon.
Big Bill.
But the perception out there is, hey, they want everybody, right? Oh, Petro's available, we're gonna get him. Jack Eichel's available, we're gonna get him. You know, so as a player there, you probably love it. But on the flip side, there's this idea maybe that there's not a whole lot of loyalty to the guys who have been there. So you've seen some friends of yours probably leave the organization so they could bring some of these guys in. How do the players react to that? And how did you handle that, you know, while you were there?
Well, like I was there since I've seen it all, right?
You've
I've
seen it
seen
all,
like
exactly.
Oh,
the
yeah.
superstars coming in, the like every year they always have. I think organization they have to have a little bit of a mentality that you need to always get better, right? You got to do everything you can to be the best team out there. But at the same time, there's only a few guys in the organization that you got to treat well. You got to know which one you want to treat really well. And I think that's something that is lacking in Vegas. Like have like a little bit of loyalty, like they when the Flurry thing happened at the time, which was and Leonard was there too, which it sucked because like everybody loved Flower in the locker room and everything, but they had to take a choice who was the guy who was going to bring us to like the next level, right? They had to choose, and at the time Robin was putting in amazing numbers. His numbers. We're not talking about locker room guys or anything, but his numbers on the ice were great. So like it was a hard decision to do, and obviously for their locker room, there's that perspective. They got to put in a little bit more thought in their locker room. So that was a tough decision, and that kind of sucked to see Flower go that way after doing so well. And look at him go still; he's unbelievable. Like he's still have a great Hall of Famer career. And in the long run, it didn't pay off. So like it's hard to say that they were right, and I don't know. It's there's definitely no loyalty, but at the same time, it's like, well, like you're there to win, right? I don't mind that mindset personally. Like obviously, I'm disappointed that I left. I think I didn't have any real like things to consider, and that's what disappoint me, right? I thought I've done good enough in the past 7 years for them that I could deserve what I deserve. I was not asking something outrageous. I was not trying to steal a bank or anything like it. And but it's life, and you move on, and they're gonna still have a really good team, and I think they did the right things, and only the future is gonna tell us if they were right or not.
Well, you guys are gonna be singing country songs in front of a bunch of people at Tootsie's here soon, so you got it pretty good with Stammer, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
The
You got a fun
Yeah.
team, dude. Fuck that. I'm excited about watching you guys play. You got a fun team down there.
Yeah, honestly, we have good players, and like they've done a lot of good things, and that's what I like about it. It's like, when I was trying to pick where I was going to go play to, I don't want to be done in April 15, right? I'm 33 years old. I still want to play to win again a Stanley Cup. That's my main goal here. So in Nashville, like I look at their lineup last year, I was like, how did they even make it to the playoffs? Like I was like, this is shocking to me. And just the way they played, they were the worst to play against. Them in Florida were so hard to play against last year. And they were hard teams, and and I was like, well, maybe I want to join this team. Like they were going somewhere, and they're willing to spend to the cap. And like, believe it or not, you need to spend to the cap to be a good NHL team now. So, yeah, I really wanted to come here, and I mean, it was a really, really good spot for me. And I mean, I like it here. I love it so far. All the kids are in the school. We got our house and everything getting settled down, and no, I can't wait to actually start. And I think we're gonna have a good team this year.
Yeah, really good team, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Yossi obviously and Forsberg, O'Reilly, and then now you got Stamkos and yourself in addition to add to that core. But give us the backstory, man. Like, were you and Stamkos talking prior to signing there? Like, did you know he was going to sign? Did he know you were going to sign? Were you guys talking? Like, give us an idea of how that played out and how you landed with the Predators.
Well, so what happened is in Vegas, I called the GM on Friday. I called the president on Saturday. I'm like, what's going on? What do you guys want to do? I kind of need to know if you guys are actually letting me go for real. And after when Sunday shows up, he's like, nothing was budging. So I was like, well, I guess I'm getting into free agency. And after we went on Monday morning, and I was talking to my agent Pat, and he was like, yeah, so Nashville is definitely a good spot and all that. So I was like, yeah, Nashville is my number one. That's what I would like to go. Like, I gave him like my top 5 list, and Nashville was there. So either way, we kind of go on, and I'm like, well, they're still signing Stammer, I think, as well. I'm like, really? I'm like, so we're like going back and forth. I'm like, well, I played with Stammer in Tampa. I'm just gonna call him. So I called him, and I'm like, yeah. I told him he didn't want to like tell me right away, but he was in the same position as me. We like committed to sign there, and I was like, well, I'm signing there. He's like, well, okay, me too. Like, well, perfect. So we were pretty pumped that we got me and him were joining their really good squad already, and we were able to maybe help them to get a cup here, you know. So I think that's the main goal, and we're definitely excited to start.
Yeah, you got a couple Conn Smythe winners there, man.
Oh,
You know, with you and O'Reilly, and
yeah.
the more guys you have that have won before, obviously, the better. So like, do you call Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee yourself, or is like your agent calling them over the weekend? And
Well,
like, you have such a history there, man. Like, how
yeah,
long does it take you to get over the fact that it didn't work out and they didn't commit to the point where you were hoping that they would?
yeah. I mean, they didn't want to go anything long term. They were always in the ballpark of like 3 years. I wanted 4. So that's the first thing that we were so far. You know, we wouldn't. But at first, it was always the agent was calling them. And after Friday, I said, well, fuck, I've seen those guys for so long. Like, I've talked to them so much. Like, I'm just gonna call them.
Yeah.
So I called Kelly Friday. I told him like what's going on. You know, like, you know how big of a factor I'm in your, not just on the ice, but in your locker room. I'm one of those 5 guys that makes the locker room. You know, like, that makes it enjoyable with the trainers and all that. We had an unbelievable chemistry and atmosphere over there. It was so much fun. So I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, well, we just can't go to terms with you guys. I'm like, okay, well, Friday. I'm like, well, I guess all good things come to an end, you know? So either way, I called the next day. I called George. I'm like, George, are you guys like really going through with this? Like, you're nothing's happening. And he's like, well, I'm gonna call Kelly. He wasn't in town, and he didn't know what it was necessarily. It was more Kelly that was taking care of that um, that contract. So
Mhm.
either way, they called each other, and after the next day, they were like, well, we just can't. So I was like, well, all good things come to an end, and that's it. So there is no like an actual. There was some offers, but nothing to consider really. And yeah, so it pretty much ended. All good things come to an end, and we hanged up, and still at that day never talked to each other.
See,
What do you
so
mean by an unorthodox coach? When you're saying that Drew's kind of unorthodox with this?
Well, he's it's hard to put into terms like he's quiet. He's a quieter coach. He's
Okay.
analytical. He's a deep thinker. Stays to himself a lot, but is a good communicator. Like he's just a little bit different. I think the way he ran the things up in the Sioux, they were a fast-paced team. They played loose, analytically driven with Kyle Dubas up there, and so he's just a little bit different than your old school coach. But there's many different ways to get to the top of the mountain, many different paths, and he might have taken one on the back of the mountain, but he still has a chance to get there.
You still feel the same way as you always have about these no move clauses or have you come off of that a little bit? Is it worth losing a player over it, or have you? People have this perception that's why you lost Petro. You can kind of clear the air if that's
no. He was offered a no move clause.
Yeah,
it wasn't until the end.
Yeah,
but I never really understood the. People probably don't understand why I was against it, and I didn't really understand why it was that big of a deal. If you're that good of a player, like really, you're worried about a no move clause, and. That's just not Petro. That's all players.
Oh,
yeah. And again, I've lessened it way more, but just I work for the owner, and I could never just justify. My mind is too narrow for this part. Is that we give you a no move clause, you could walk into the owner's office, you could take his family photo, smash it on the ground, say whatever you want to him, and walk out. And nothing can happen. There's not a thing you can do. Like, you have more power than the owner. I don't get that. Obviously,
did it put Brendan in a tough spot? We've had all those guys on. Talked in depth about it, from Brendan to Mike to other.
I don't think it put Brendan in a bad spot for two reasons. The players love Brendan, and they loved his and Mike handled it unreal. Yeah. Like, unbelievable.
It wouldn't have worked if he didn't.
Yeah, like he was disappointed in the decision as he like, again, I made a mistake, but he just said to Brendan, "I'm here for you." Like, Mike Madonna was one of the classiest human beings you're ever going to meet, and he handled that situation with himself better than I could see anybody else doing. And he made it okay. He made a bad decision work out okay.
What's the other one?
Not being able to figure out Petro. It just seemed too easy to end up where it ended up. And again, Petro's another guy I got a ton of respect for, because I do understand that any success I've had as part of a group, it's the guys, like, no matter how much I think I'm involved in that, I go home and I don't have a sore on me. My legs aren't sore. My knees aren't sore. I didn't break an arm. I didn't get punched in the face. Like, I understand who does the work in an organization. It's the guys on the ice.
You play with so many great players. Yeah. I just can't go down the line and ask you about all of them. I love how you play with Danny Healy, though, man.
Yeah,
I
forgot about that.
He was so fucking good. He was so good.
He's an enigma, man. And we want to talk to him.
And Rob Blake, too. I mean, like, just a true legend. But people will give a shit. Give me one good Jumbo story. You got a Jumbo story. I feel like he's just like a big kid. You know what I mean? Like, and Brent Burns and these guys, man. That team was so cool when you were in Columbus or in San Jose, dude. You guys had so many great characters.
Man, I just had dinner with the trainers, and that's the other thing for young guys. And if I don't know, how many young guys in the league listen to your podcast, but take the trainers out to dinner. That's the biggest thing that I think is being lost in the NHL is we had to, when I came in the league, the vets were like, you got to pick one road trip where you're taking out the trainers to dinner and you're buying dinner. And not just to do it because all the shit they do, but they have the best stories and they've been there forever and they know more about culture than people ever talk about. It's like, I sat at dinner last night with Mikey Aldrich and our new foes, the massage therapist who was here when I was here, and Mike Potenza, and then one of the new trainers here that I hadn't met, and we just sat 2 hours and told stories about all the teams that we had back then, and they're talking about guys that they had, and man, they're the best judge of character, because how you treat the trainers is how you kind of are as a guy in my eyes. And but yeah, Jumbo story I had, man, There's so many.
I know.
I mean, I just interviewed him for his jersey retirement, and that was a pretty cool experience for me to sit with his family. But I mean, my favorite one was one of my first road trips in the NHL. I think we're in Columbus. It might have been Columbus or Denver, and I'm sitting in the hotel room. It's like after practice, and Jumbo, I get a knock on my door and open the door, and it's Joe Thornton. What's up, Joe? And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm just, just hanging out. And he goes, all right, let's order some lunch. I said, okay. So he goes, order some room service. And he said, I'll have this, this, this. And I said, okay. And he goes, what? Let's rent a movie. So he rents the Hurt Locker, and proceeds to get underneath my covers and takes a nap for the whole Hurt Locker movie. And then the food comes up. He doesn't eat any of the food until the end of the movie. He wakes up, eats the food, takes a big shit in my bathroom, and then leaves. And says, "Thanks, bud," and then takes off. Bud, hey, good time, bud. See ya. And then leave. And I'm like sitting there in the room, like,
That's great, man.
Joe Thornton just bought and I like, look at, I'm a young kid, my first year in the league, and I'm like, I can't ask Joe Thornton to pay for this, because I'm like, I just gotta like pick up the tabs. I'm looking at like I'm leaving the hotel, and it's like, a $300 room service charge. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'm like, you just pay it. But he would just like do shit like that like I can't even explain. But I mean, he's one of the only guys in the NHL that when they changed the rule where you could get your own room, he kept a roommate because he wanted to be with a young guy. And people go, oh, it was because he wanted to be with, like, he wanted to instill all of his veteran experience into these young guys. No, it's because he wanted to just have a roommate, because he loved it. He loved having a fucking roommate on the road. So you have a Hall of Famer who's like Jamie McGinn, who's like on the up and up, and that's his roommate but all the other veterans had their own room, but he just wanted to have a roommate and wanted to have a kid in the room with him, which is like, that's Joe. It's I'm sure you ask everybody, but that one always stood out to me because it was my first like road trip, and I just was like, he ordered the Hurt Locker, and I had to sit there in bed on top of the covers while he took a nap, and with all the lights off in the room. And I'm like, okay, here's Joe next to me, and I'm watching this movie. Like, I'm like, what? I'm like, if I tell anybody this, no one's gonna believe me. Like, there's like a burger and steak sitting up there, and then he just gets up and eats it, and goes, oh, how's it? Okay, but yeah, see, it takes a shit with the door open and then leaves.
And you paid for it.
You paid for it. And you paid for it.
But one of the greatest brawls ever, Mike, was the Flyers in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
And so what? You locked Ron Hextall in a closet? He was probably trying to get out there, but you didn't want him to get hurt, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I said, and then he was cussing me out because he's a fiery guy. And he said, I got to go and help my teammates. I said, you know how you're going to help your teammates? I'm going to lock you in this. You're going to stay locked in here because I can't afford to have you break your hand, because I know you're going to get the fight for sure. So, and then we beat Montreal that night, and he was unbelievable in the first period. They came at us hard, and he held the fort for us, and we went on to win and knocked them out. And then we went to Stanley Cup Finals against Edmonton.
He must have been going crazy.
Yeah.
He was.
How was he?
God, he was.
How was he to coach? Like him being fiery. Because I want to ask you about Dominic
Hasek?
Hasek
Yes.
also, man, from Chicago. Like,
Yep.
just dealing with him. Did you truly believe he had the ability to turn into the Dominator and Dominic Hasek that we obviously know
I'll tell
today?
you a quick story about both these guys. So Dominic was a backup goalie. He came as sort of Eddie had got the spot, and then
Was
Dominic
he Panger's backup?
No. And so anyway, expansion comes, and now we can only protect one goalie.
Okay.
So we go through gyrations, and I go down to Quebec City, talk to Pierre Paget about Eric Lindros coming to Chicago, and then I'd have Chelios, Roenick, Lindros, but we couldn't get a deal done. Finally, we did get a deal done, and we had to give up one of the goalies. So I can't remember which one. But anyway, Mr. Wirtz was in the owner's suite, and Marcel Abu come in and said, "Well, the deal our managers have made is okay, but I want $5 million." And Billy Wirtz just went crazy. I mean, his nickname was Dollar Bill. So so Marcel runs out of the room and goes down the hall. He goes into the Flyers room and the Rangers room and asks for $15 million, which he got from the Flyers. So anyway, back to the Dominic Hasek story. So I've got to put one of them. I got both goalies. I put one of them on waivers. I put Dominic on waivers. Buffalo takes him. John Muckler. And I make I made a deal with John because I had to get rid of a goalie. And I didn't know Dominic well enough yet. He hadn't played that much compared to Eddie. So anyway, John puts him on waivers. I'm the only team, I claim him back. And the NHL says, you can't have him back because you trade him. I said, he's on waivers. I'm the only guy that picked him. Why can't I have him back? They said, well, we're not going to let you do that. I said, oh, come on. So
Really?
that was Dominic Hasek.
Did you think he had that type of potential, though?
I didn't know for sure, but I don't know if you guys would know this. I brought Tretiak over from Russia to be the goalie coach, and he was just fantastic with both of them, both Eddie and Dominic. And a quick story about that. So we're out in the ice and practice, and Tretiak would always wear his full gear when he was coaching the goalies.
As the goalie coach?
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a video of that.
Full gear.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. So I said, guys, good news, bad news. I said, the good news is we have Mr. Tretiak here to help our goalies. He's doing a fantastic job. The bad news is he's better than both of them. So the team just started laughing. Anyway.
I love that, man.
How about the skill set? Like I grew up watching Pavel Bure too. I'm a St. Louis kid, but Pavel Bure was so loud and unique. Like, how do you look at his skill set? And then you look at like a Connor McDavid today. Like, what's the difference between the two?
Well, both of them are electric, are magical, but Pavel, and I haven't been around the NHL enough to see what happens when Connor gets the puck. I see what happens when he's playing, but when Pavel's first came in and then when he'd pick up the puck, everybody in the building would stand up. I mean, it was dynamic. It was unbelievable. Like they call him the Rocket Man, like he was being shot right out of a rocket. And with Connor McDavid, obviously, is the same. A quick story on Connor McDavid. I was doing a charity function here in Ontario, and a summer game. I had a bunch of NHL players on both teams, and that was for charity. And I was on one bench, and there was an NHL coach on the other bench, and this young kid came up on my team before the game, said, Mr. Keenan, I'm really happy that you're coaching me, and it's a real honor. So really polite kid, you know. And I said, okay, thank you. So we go out there, and there's Shane Corson, Dougie Gilmore, a couple other NHL. And this young kid goes out, and he's 16 or 17 years old. First shift, I said to Doug Gilmore, I said, who is that? He's like a rocket. He said, that's going to be the best player in the world someday. So I just said, oh, my God. So he's from Newmarket, and the game was at Barrie, which was like 45-minute drive away. So, and then after the game, he thanked me again for letting him play. It was unbelievable.
When you became unglued on the bench, man, and Torts like threw you off the bench or whatever he did, or told you to sit down and all that.
Yeah.
Like with the Riley coach, and I'm sure you talked about it, but had you ever this looked like you kind of blacked out, like you just were not going to be controlled? Had that happened to you before? And did you ever recover from that with Torts, man, or no?
No, yeah. It's obviously that moment with Riley Cote. We fought 4 times in the season, and I still think I did pretty good with him. He caught me. That was our second fight. First period, I fought Riley, and I have respect for all the fighters. You know, I think I had the edge on that one. He wanted a rematch second period. It was a little 5-on-5, and Riley just like, let's fucking go. So I was like, I was kind of a little not halfway to my shift, but I was kind of a little bit like not fresh, let's put it that way. And it doesn't take any way of get all credit to him. Yeah, he fucking hit me, got me on the chin, but I was like, oh, fuck it, let's go. So it's a little bit of my fault because I'm a little nonchalant. You can see me, I'm going like kind of like this. And when he grabbed my sleeve and I tried to come out underneath, took my elbow pad off, he came in with a left and hit me right on the button. So my legs buckle. It's like a whiplash, right? So, fuck, that was like a first time that I get, like I've been hit hard where I'm fucking a little dazed, but I hang after the guy and the refs come in. You go to the bench, act like you're fine, but you're a little fucked up, dazed up. But on that one, Riley caught me pretty good. I buckled. And you know, it happened to all the fucking best of us, like fuck Proby, Domi, McGrattan, Janner probably too. You know, all of us. One day you'll get hit anyway. So obviously, I'm a little my pride kicks in. I'm a little pissed off. I'm rattled. I'm like, what the fuck? And then we're in Philly. So I go in the penalty box and I'm like, what the? I knew he caught me. When I was down, I kind of came back and I was a little dazed, but skate to the bench and I look, they're showing the replay nonstop. So the fans are like, ah! Then in the penalty box in Philly, you know, fans there, hey Roy, hey, how'd that feel, fucking pussy?
Pussy.
So I'm like, what fucking? I'm like, yeah, I'll show you, puss. I'm losing my mind right there, and they keep showing the replay, and all I hear is the oh, because I took the punch, you know, and
they
he
kept
caught me
showing it.
good.
They took some
Yeah.
criticism for that because they wouldn't stop showing it.
It's in
Because
Philly,
you're not
man.
allowed. From what I heard,
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
keep on showing it. So, you know, but you're in Philly, right? So, and
Yeah.
obviously I'm fucking, fuck this. So I'm in the box, period ends. I go in the room. I'm in the room and guys are like, good job, Wazzy. I'm like, fuck off with the good job already. Fuck on. Now I'm a little pissed off, you know,
Yeah.
but I know guys, you know how they are. They
Yeah.
have your back. They appreciate what you do. All the
Good job.
guys are, yeah, they're all trying to be nice, but I'm like kind of like this with fucking replaying fans. So I'm in the room. Torts walks in Philly. They have their little office across the hall there. So, Andre, come see me. So I go across and I come in his little office. He's like, "Are you okay? Can I still play? Can I play you?" I go, "Stop." I stop Torts right there. I was like, "You can play me, Torts. I'm starting the third period. I'm fucking fighting Cote round 3. I'm going out there. I'm gonna fuck him up. Like I'm losing my mind." I remember, and he's like, he sees that my face a little like my eyes are like, you know, when you're fucking pissed off. So he's like, I tell you what, you get undressed, Andre. I was like, fuck you, Torts. I'm not getting undressed. No, I'm not getting undressed. You're not doing this to me again. Because the prior year to this, I remember I took a penalty on the road. They scored on the PP. He told me to get undressed, and I don't know why I got undressed and went in the stands, you know. So he told me again, get undressed. I was like, no. And you know, Janner, as fighters, it's a tough job. We fight the heaviest, toughest guys in the world on skates. You'll have some good nights, some other nights not so good. So that night, obviously, I don't want to show that I'm hurting too. Yes, he hit me, but I got pride. I'm pissed off. So I want to go right back at it third period, you know. So I'm telling him, he's like, get undressed. Like, fuck that. I'm not getting undressed. I'm going out there. And then he just walked away because he kind of saw that I was like fucking losing my marbles, you know. So went back on the bench. Then again, they're showing the replay. So they're showing the replay. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm like, I didn't start the period. Obviously, he sent his 5 guys out, but Riley didn't play a fucking shift either in the third. So didn't I. And at that moment, what we see on YouTube, I'm there on the bench, and right before that, it's a TV timeout. I think there was a whistle, and guys skating back to the bench from Philly. Scott Hartnell was one of them. He just looked at me and smiled at me. He just smiled at me, and I think he mumbled something. But I said, "What the fuck did you?" I jumped over the boards, and then the linesman grabbed me. I was kind of going towards their bench. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm not there right now. That's where the little. That's probably the only time where I lost my fucking mind and my cool like that. And I'm not proud. I gotta say, kids, whoever's listening, that's not the way to act. And I apologize. I explained to my kids what you see. That's not the way to do it. I went overboard. I admit it. I apologize, and I'm sorry to all the people. Still today, I'm embarrassed by that video when I see it. That's why I don't like to watch it, because I'm fucking embarrassed. But people gotta understand that role. Fuck, like it's a tough role,
Fucks you up.
and yeah, exactly. And like I said, I was embarrassed. The pride kicked in, and I just wanted to go right back at it and show that, hey, listen, it was just a bump in the role. What I do, it was just like a mistake, and I'm right back at it. We have another fight. We're done. See, I'm good. We're good to go. Let's move on from it. But it didn't happen that way. So obviously, after Hartnell smile, and then the referees grabbing me, I went back on the bench, and guys are like, Andre, stop it, you'll get suspended. And I'm like, hey, Hartnell, you know what? You and Cody, I'll fucking kill you. That's when it kicked in. Then the referee's like, Torts, you tell him to settle down, or you're getting a bench minor, and I'm fucking kicking him out. So I'm like, that's when you see me standing up, because they're both looking at me on the bench, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill all of you. Obviously, the slash throats, it's embarrassing, but I'm just not there at that moment. I just lost my mind. I'm pissed off, and it's just, fuck. Like
What
I
did
said,
Torch say to you? What was he saying to you when he was trying to get you to sit down?
But then he said, Andre, just sit. So I sat down when he yanked me, but I'm like just pissed off, and I'm like, and then the guy's like, Andre, bro, I've never seen a guy like this. He's just losing his cool. Fuck, have you ever been in a fucking fight like Brooksy and the Rangers, like Torts told him before? Fucking nerd. No, but it's just, hey, Janner, when you fucking lose a fight, you're pissed off, your pride kicks in. You're like, fuck this. I just want. So that was a moment. Like I said, I apologize. I'm embarrassed about it, and it's not the way.
It's not that embarrassing, though, Andre. You know what's embarrassing is whenever you fucking cross-check a guy in the mouth because you lose your shit. You didn't do anything.
No,
Two-hand him in the fucking side of the head. Yeah.
Thank you. And then from there, the game finish. We're going to Jersey. This is where me and Torts anyway. So I go to Jersey. We take the sub to Jersey. I check in my hotel over there. Jay Feaster, our GM at the time, calls me. Torts doesn't speak to me after the game. And I wish Torts would have just said, Andre, you're important, this hockey team. I know it's a tough job. It didn't go your way, but you'll come back. You'll bounce back from this. And I know, you know what? You're fucking important, this hockey club. But no, he didn't talk to me. He just fucking ignored me, didn't say a word to me. Instead, we go to Jersey. Jay Feaster calls me in his hotel room at 12:31. So I'm like, what the fuck? That can't wait till tomorrow, this talk. So I said, can you come see me? So I go see Jay. I was like, okay, he wants to talk to me about how I acted. Maybe I'll get suspended from this, probably. So I go in his room. We have a talk. He's like, Andre, I hate to do this, but we have 2 games left on the road. He's like, we're going to send you back tomorrow to Tampa. We got a flight for you. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Tort's not going to play you. He doesn't want you around the team. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's a lack of respect. After every night when I fucking fight Brashear, I fight fucking Eric Goddard, I fight fucking, you name him, all the tough guys.
Bugard.
Belak, Bugard, whatever, Mike Rupp, I go on and good job, Andre, but then I fucking fucked up one night. Now I'm a piece of shit and you're sending me out. I just thought it was a lack of respect from his part. And like what I said before, I wish it would have been like that, but instead, so I'm like, that's bullshit. Jay's like, Torts, I don't want anything to get out of hand. Let's let everything settle, and then we'll talk. And I was like, I know Andre. Jay was great with me. He felt bad. But, Torts, my way to highway. I was like, still, you're the GM. You're going to let that happen? Please, Andre, can we let this settle, and we'll talk? I said, whatever, but I still think it's bullshit. So I took a flight back home by myself. Obviously, guys like, where are you? La, la, la. And the following day, the guys told me, some guys, and I know it's true, Torts said, for those of you wondering where is Andre, he played his last NHL game in this league last night. So that fucking hurt me even more when guys told me that Torts addressed the room, because they're like, hey, where's Andre? He told the room from what guys told me. Andre Watt played his last NHL game last night in Philly. That's fucking bullshit. That is bullshit. And there was like 14, 15 games left in the season. I never dressed another game. I was at home. They finally came back. It took another 2-3 days where I'm just at home. So what's going on? Jay's talking to me. Yeah, I'm trying to. So I finally came back because Torts said, okay, Vinny LeCavalier, Freddie Modine, couple guys tell Torts, if Andre doesn't play, that's fine, but he should still be around the team. Torts said, okay. So I did come back. Him and Mike Sullivan, the assistant coach, who's head coach with Pittsburgh, never talked to me. So I would just basically practice with would end. I would shoot pucks, skate by myself with the other guys.
God.
Yeah, just bag skate. Nobody fucking even talked to me the rest of the year. Like, you're done. You're done here. You're done with us. You're not gonna. I was like, what the fuck? But I moved on from it. I didn't want to cause any fucking bullshit around the team. I traveled with the team, had dinner, and with the guys, go to the rink, practice, whatever. Torts never talked to me for the rest. There was a month and a half left in the season, so I just skated, traveled, never talked to no one. Even Sully, a little bit skated me at first. After, he wasn't even bothering skating me, so I was just like with the team, basically.
You're not even
like,
getting bagged.
Yeah, exactly. So
Did you ever like?
skate
Did you ever like walk by him? Like, and you know how you can't help but see these guys. Was there a moment where you're walking by Torts or Sully, where it's just you two, and he'd just ignore you and walk right past you?
Completely ignore me, even on the plane. On the
God.
road, I go with the team. I walk on the plane. He would look at his iPad, his laptop, his stuff, and I would just, all right, good talk. But in the hallway, in the room, he would just do his things, and guys, then I'd be like, even if I go talk to him, I didn't know how to handle it. I was just hoping Torts would talk to me. Like I said, Andre, I know it's tough on your ego and all that. He'll come back, bounce back. Nothing of that. So I was like, what a lack of respect. And I know I lost my mind and it was inappropriate. And I apologize to everyone for that. And anyway, so fucking the end year meetings, we have meetings when we leave with GM and coaches right after the season, just for the following year. I talked with Jay. He said, have you talked to Torts? I was like, why would I even go talk to Torts? He hasn't talked to me in a month and a half. Just fucking, so why would I bother go talk? You should at least go talk to him. And I was like, I don't really want to talk to him because I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I'm fucking pissed off that like he kind of just tossed me aside like I'm a fucking nobody, So anyways, but for you, Jay, I'll go, but it'll be a short meeting. I went in Torts. We're all waiting to go and talk with our coach. There's like a 15 gap between players, 15-minute, 20-minute gap. Anyway, so it was my turn, and Torts opened the door. He saw me for the first time. So, oh, Andre, have a seat here. So he went around his little desk, and I just stood in the doorway. I was like, Torts, I'm not going to sit down. I have nothing to say to you, and I especially don't want to hear what you got to say to me. You haven't talked to me in a month and a half, so why would the fuck would I sit down? So that's a lack of respect. Fuck that. So fuck you. I'm done. I'll never play for you. So fuck you. He's like, I wish you all the best. I said, no, you don't. You're a fucking hypocrite. That was my last time I talked with Torts. And the guys in the hallway were like, holy fuck. I probably shot myself in the foot. That was not the best way to handle it, because I imagine that summer when teams were calling to ask about me, probably Torts threw me under the bus, say this guy's this, that. That's why I'm so happy and fortunate that I didn't play my last NHL game. I signed with the Flames in Calgary. That was my last year in the league, so at least I played one last year in the league in Calgary there.
Yeah.
But then I talked with Torts 10 years later, the 10-year Cup reunion. He was with the Canucks, and I won't, obviously it's still in the back of my mind, but you got to move on in life from that. I didn't agree with how he handled it, but fuck, I'm a pro. I could still talk to you. I was like, hey, Torts, how are you? How you been? And that last weekend, the 20th anniversary, same thing. Hey, Torts is like, hey, you look good. Yeah, what you been up to? Like podcast, radio. Hey, you're doing good with the Flyers. Yeah. What happened? Your thumb. with the little cast there. Did you finger some? No, he had bad ligaments in his tongue, whatever. So it was all fun. It
Did
was
he punch
great.
a whiteboard or something? You know,
Yeah.
like did he punch a hole in the
Maybe
wall
he
in the
didn't say. He
dressing room?
just said, "Yeah, I had bad ligaments," but maybe he punched something. But it's still good, you know. I moved on from it. I can talk with the guy, but it's just, yeah, it's. I'll still have that in the back of my mind for forever. But
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by Bellman, Behlmann, Bellman Automotive, located where?
Troy.
Troy, Missouri. Buick GMC on one side of the street, right on the other side, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get yourself some new wheels in time for the winter. I hope you enjoyed the best of in 2024. Who had better best of moments? Was it me or you?
I would say our guests more than
Oh, they
me and
had the
you.
best
Yeah,
moments.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy complaining about his elbow is the best moment. Andy thinks his elbow, like people like enjoy when he complains about his elbow. They don't. They don't care about that. That's why we didn't clip it off. Our guests were the best.
Well, that's why
they're the best.
I'm a little tired today because of my lack of sleep because of my elbow injury. My doctor prescribed me medicine. I've been taking this pill now it's like 30 pills. I'm taking one a day. It's probably been at least 2 weeks, Cam. It's not doing much
People
for
care.
me right now.
People care about that, you know.
So tennis elbow, it's a real thing. Anybody who's had it, man, you guys know what I'm living through. I'm grinding it out.
People are worried about him. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
You get a new scarf. Is that a new one?
Nah, not a new one. I've had this for
Aren't
a
you
little while.
hot, dude? I am hot in here.
It is a little hot in here. I might have to take this bad
What
boy
does the
off.
scarf do? It like covers
It's
something.
my fucking
It
thing.
covers something.
Well, if I spill like chewing tobacco on my shirt, I got to wear this bad boy.
Mm.
But it's just like my little thing I do.
And you got a
know?
new shirt too.
No, this is first form.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Is that a
Yeah.
fleece?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the normal brand collab.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, I believe so.
it's badass. Kate dressed me again today.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Does she lay your clothes out
yeah,
for you?
yeah, she does.
Hey, listen, guys. I got this box here. I'm gonna. You have to tune into the episode here coming up with John Hines.
Yeah.
And we'll open it up. There could be a little kitty in there. You never know.
Oh, well, I hope so, because I hope not actually, because it's probably gonna die. You
Oh
know?
my God.
Well, they can't breathe whenever you close the box like this, Andy. So the thing's dead.
But no,
just
this,
like my other cat.
This year, oh my God, no! This year, 2024, has been dedicated to Boo Boo. We are thinking
Yeah,
about Boo Boo.
we love you
all
so
of you
much.
that are closest to Boo Boo.
There's a lot of people that know about Boo Boo, just so you know. A lot of people.
Well, we're in our Boo Boo studios live at Half Coast.
Yeah. We miss her every single day. All good.
Okay.
All good. You brought it up.
You need to get a new one.
You brought it.
My eyes are itching just talking about
I
the
told
cat.
Kate like that would be like the best gift.
Oh my
I
God.
did. Well, look, we got best stuff going on. We got best stuff. We want all y'all to know that support our sponsors. Check us out on YouTube. Check out all our social media, by the way, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook.
Everyone.
Cam and Strick, Andy, me, all our shit. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. We love all you guys.
Firstform.com, man. We appreciate all their support.
Damn right.
Firstform.com/Cam and Strick. Always use our link. You know, right now they're having a contest, I think, for like whoever has the most new subscribers or whatever.
Yep.
Wins like a big cash prize.
Oh, dang.
So
boy.
we need our people to step up for
Step
that.
up. Let's go. First Form.
Illinois Recovery Center, so important to
Damn right.
everything we do, man.
Especially during the holidays. Right there in Swansea, Illinois. Chrissy Pondoff, Eric Conley. Love all you guys.
Love all y'all. Reach out to me if you guys need to get in touch with Chrissy. Actually, somebody just did. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah,
No, we could talk about that. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, yeah.
people
Somebody reached
Good.
out, and I got them in touch with
Chrissy.
Yeah.
Good.
So
That's how you do it, man.
Hat Launch, man, they are the best people ever. Again, on the other side of the river, right there in Illinois. #1 source for customized hats in the entire universe.
Hat Launch, let's go.
Hat Launch, baby. HatLaunch.com. Check that out. Get yourself a hat and get it today. And have it look the way that you want it to look. Sparks Hockey, man. Stay away from Seth. Get a Sparks today and go out there and play with a peace of mind that only Sparks Hockey can give you. Stay away from Seth because we all know that
He's a fucking weirdo.
Blue Note Roofing, man. David Novak. Nobody's better than David Novak. 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. Let him climb up on your roof and hook you up. Again, get yourself a new roof before that expiration date comes when that insurance company won't pay for it.
Damn right, baby.
Bolt Sports, man. I've been practicing my stick handling. You know, I'm dangling left and right, Cam. And looking forward to bringing it in. I might bring it into the studio so you and I can have a competition.
People would, that'd actually probably be cool. I don't know if we have room in here, but we could do that somewhere else.
Okay.
And film it, you know.
Okay.
You don't have to bring it in the studio. every
Well, I
time.
can bring it anywhere. You can take it anywhere you want.
I know, but like, there's
Yeah.
no room. We have cameras here and stuff like that.
Well, that's why you do it in front of the cameras.
Oh yeah, where? Right here in this little area? No, I'm not doing it.
Both
These things are like
sports, man.
$1,000 a
Get the
piece.
dangles, get the snipes, and get the e-cones, man. Best way to train your up-and-coming hockey player. Or if you're an adult, you want to get better in the men's league. Or, excuse me, the person's league.
Yeah. People kind.
Do you know it's a lines person?
Huh?
It's a lines person.
Let's go, dude. Don't get.
I just
this.
didn't
Let's
know
go.
if you
People,
knew that.
Let's go.
Because
Let's
now you're
go.
doing some radio games. I want to make sure you're saying
let's
it
go.
the right
Let's go.
saying it the
Let's
right
go,
way.
Andy. Come on.
So we appreciate everybody. Of course, Bellman, man. At Bellman, you get
Swinging
what?
dicks. None of that bullshit. We don't fuck around with that.
But you get the best customer service from the best people. Danny
They're
Boy,
awesome.
everybody.
Troy,
over
Missouri.
there.
Troy, Missouri.
Danny, Dale, and Kenny.
Kenny. Goddamn, boy.
Happy holidays.
Love all you
to
guys,
the
man.
Bellmans.
What's up?
Hey, thanks for all your support. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the best of. Do we have 2 episodes, right? 2 episodes of that. One Christmas week and then the other one New Year's week. Sometimes you just got to take a break. We're headed off to the Winter Classic and doing some other stuff too. Cam probably will just...
No, I'll be chilling at home. You kidding? I'm not going there.
But happy holidays to you and
Love you
yours.
guys.